Alright, welcome to this video. Now in this video we're going to learn about block and inline elements. Now in HTML it is very important to remember that there are two types of model containers. Alright, one is the block level and the other is the inline level. Now, whatever the type of the element is, it is going to dictate the browser what the default rendering logic will be for the content within that element or the element itself. For example, let's just eradicate all the confusion. Think of it as this picture, all right? Now over here, this is an example of a block level element, which is always going to take up the full width available on the screen. And by rendering using the full width of the screen, the content of this element is always rendered on a new line. So this is just one box, and this is another box, and this is a third box. All right. Now, if you add, let's say after adding this block level element, if you add another block level element, it's always going to render on a new line. And that is why it is called a block level element, because it's stacked as blocks. All right. Now, there are three primary examples of block level elements that you may have used or may be going to use in your HTML pages. The number one is the body tag itself, all right? And the other one is the BR tag, known as the break tag, okay? So for example, if I write something like, this is an example of showing a block level element, all right? So now I'm going to introduce a block level element, which is BR or BR backslash. There we go. So you will see that if I type this tag, which is always going to be used once in your HTML document because it doesn't have any closing tag. This is the only tag for writing the BR version. So if I enter this tag, it is always going to, whatever content is going to be next, it is always going to start on a new line. So basically this BR tag is known as a line breaker tag as well. So let's say if I copy this text again and paste it after this tag, now you will see that this particular text is going to be visible but on a new line, not on the same line. So this is a line breaker tag, by the way. So I'm just going to save it and run it to see what happens. There we go. So now because I entered the BR line breaker tag, then this text which I typed after the tag is appearing on a new line. All right, let's just remove this tag and save the file now and run it and refresh. There you go. So you see the difference now? That's how important BR tag is, and that's why it's called a block level element. Now the other tag, which is very important as a block level element, is the P tag, the paragraph tag. So whenever you type anything inside a paragraph tag, it is always going to start on a new line since it's a block level element. So I'm just going to go back to the code editor, and over here I'm just going to paste the BR tag back. All right, oops, there we go. Okay, and after the BR tag, I'm just going to add the P tag, all right? And I'm just going to enter some text. Now you're going to see that because I have entered the P tag or I have introduced the P tag, now this text is going to start on a new line, and you can see there is no BR tag. There's only P tag, which is also a block level element. So you're going to see that it is going to have some margin set to its box already. So over here, let's refresh. There you go. So you can see that the paragraph is starting on a new line, and it has an equal amount of space at the top and as well as the bottom. And I can show you that the space is available at the bottom as well, because let's say if you copy this paragraph twice, then you're going to see that this text is going to appear on a new line. So going back to the code editor, refresh, there we go. So this text, this paragraph is started on a new line with some equal spacing in between the paragraphs. All right, so far so good. Now there are many other block level elements, which include article, aside, block code, button, canvas, caption, which we are going to cover in the later videos to give our HTML pages some more meaning. All right, but right now let's just focus on learning about the inline elements as well. Now I'm just going to create some headings, all right, just to differentiate between the kind of elements that I have entered. So I'm just going to enter one heading over here. I'm just going to say block level elements. All right, and now I'm going to enter one more heading, copy this heading, all right, paste it right here and say inline level elements. And now I'm going to introduce the inline elements. Now, how inline elements differ from the block elements is they only take up the width that they need to render their content. For example, over here you can see that the paragraph is taking full width, all right? The paragraph is taking full width, all right? So starting from here, it's going to take full width because it acts as a box. And that's why it's called a block level element. But inline element is different because they only take up, I repeat, they only take up the width that they need to render their content. For example, if I enter a span tag in my code editor, all right, span tag, by the way, is an inline element. And the reason why we use span tags is because they do not start on a new line. So whenever we need to make changes within a block level element or within a paragraph to some part of the text, then we use span text. I'm going to show you that later, but right now let's just use span text and let's say this is an inline element. All right, now you can see that if I just save it and run it, nothing happens, all right, because it is showing one line, whatever we have written, all right. But just for your convenience, let's just add a background to it, so you don't have to worry about all the styling right now. It is just to show you that how the width is similar to the width of the text, all right. So I'm just going to add a background and I'm going to say, well, make that background red. All right. So don't worry about the styling. I just want to show you what exactly is going on. So the span tag is only going to render the content width, which is similar to the content width of the text that we have included in the span tag. So you can see that if you refresh it, it is not occupying the full screen. All right. It is not doing that. Whereas if you add a background to your paragraph, then you will see that the paragraph ends here, but it's still going to occupy the full width. So I'm just going to add a background. Just copy this tile and paste it. And you're going to see that this area where there is no text is also occupied. So that's why inline elements, they only take up the width of whatever text or whatever content we have added, all right? Nothing more than that. So over here, back to the code editor, you can see that if I add one more span tag, all right? Now, if I add one more span tag and enter it on a new line, you're going to see that it is not going to continue on a new line in the browser. Rather, it is going to continue on the same line, all right, after element. So this line is going to repeat after this line. So I'm just going to change the color background, make it yellow. save it, and then run it, refresh. There we go. So as you can see that though I have started a new tag, but because span tag is an inline element, it has started on the same line. So that's why HTML has two main types of content models, which is of course block level and inline level element. Now I have used some CSS to differentiate the block level elements from inline elements, but you don't have to worry about the CSS. This is just to show you that how these two are different. So we're going to be looking at the inline elements in detail in the coming up videos. Some of the inline elements are, of course, first of all, there's a span tag, then we have strong, and then we have the sup and the sub script tags, all right? A lot of them. So we're going to be looking at them later in detail. So I hope that you have gained the concept of the difference between block level elements and inline level elements. All right. So stay tuned and, of course, keep learning and keep practicing.